Hi, YouTube. I'm just going to make this one relatively painless for me because I'm not really trying to go too in depth here. But people were asking about the light-rag MCP, and I finally got it working. There was a weird issue with, I eventually found the issue to be on the light-rag side of things. So just to kind of back up and understand what we're doing, light-rag is a relatively new way to do retrieval augmented generation. I think this is like a month old, maybe a month and a half at this point, but it's very similar to GraphRag or other graph-based strategies for retrieval augmented generation. So the reason why it's called LightRag is because one, I guess it's pretty simple to use, which I'll attest to, but also it is pretty lightweight in terms of it doesn't require a big hefty um, like a vector, like you don't have to do it through all the pain of setting up your own vector database and doing all this kind of stuff. Like it handles everything for you, which is nice. Um, oh, sorry. Also, it's light because if you read the paper, it's very efficient. It's something like other methods, the API calls, the amount of like the amount of money you're going to spend with other RAG solutions is like, order of magnitude or more than this simple solution. And I think the reason for that is because the way that they set this up, it's able to go through the document and pull out a bunch of entities and create relationships using the LLM itself. So you yourself don't have to actually go in and manually do any of that. It's all done for you. And so I don't know, it's a cool way of doing RAG. So I saw that there weren't a lot of MCPs related to RAG, which is actually very, very strange. But so I made my own. Um, yeah, it does the deduplication for you. It's doing profiling, getting the entities. So I don't have to tell it that I'm a person. It figured that out itself. Um, and then it spits back out the eventual entities, relationships, context. It actually spits it out into a CSV, but I'm not going to go super in depth into RAG itself, but I will put the GitHub in the description. So I would say in order to use this tool, which I'm going to demo in a second, you just need to clone this repo, and then all the code can be found in the examples folder. Well, actually, the example that I was using was incorrect. So I had to write my own Python script, or Claude and I had to write our own Python script, which then essentially is doing what this API is doing, but the API was reading and go down some. You can hook Neo4j up to it if you want, which is something I was working on, but it's just too complicated, so I decided to nix that. Um, but you basically set this lightrag server going, then you can make post commands to it, and that's all that Claude is doing under the hood is just posting queries, um, inserting text, or like the last one was inserting a file, but the problem was this one was not working because their example was based on form data. So then I had to rewrite it. And now my Python script is lightrag server robust. So first, you just run that. So clone the repo. You can insert whatever you want with like Perl commands or Python scripts just to get something in your database. But actually, you really don't have to because now that you have Claude, you really just need to clone the repo, run my Python script that I'll share, and then after you run the Python script, the server will boot up and it'll open up port 8020 on your computer. And then after this local thing is running, which it should be running soon. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, there we go. It's going to set up your index as a index default. So it has a bunch of sensible defaults. So the vector database will be stored in index default. It's going to use GPT-4o mini. It's going to use text embedding 3 large from OpenAI. So this is all like OpenAI based. I took their OpenAI based example and I just copied that, and that's what this robust one is. Uh, what else? That's pretty much it. So the server's up and running. So now I can go into Claude and I can show you. So I'm going to start a new chat with Claude. Actually, let me zoom in because you guys are always complaining I can't see anything. Yeah, control plus plus. Okay, so in my allowed directories, there's a file called diary real. See, you please insert this into the RAG and insert this into the RAG database using the RAG underscore insert file tool. So, I mean, it should still have access to it. Going into our tools, we got like 50 of them now. See, RAG insert insert a file into the RAG system. And so since it's up, it should be able to do this. So to be clear, you run list directories, get the file path of the diary real.txt file from Anthropic fun folder. Use that file path to insert the file into RAG. Okay, let's see if it can do this. I'm gonna get the directory. Okay, list around directories, thank you. Now let's find the file path. I think that's the name of it. I think it's diary real. It might be something else. This might hang, because I don't actually know the name of the file name. It's gonna be like, I don't know the file name. Did it get it? Let me check. Yeah, it is diary real.txt. Okay, cool. So now should be getting the file path. And let's see if it actually works. Thank you. Insert the file. There you go. Now we can look at the server and see. See, I don't know if you're able to see this, but it's making a post request. And now it's putting in the new entities. So it got 14 chunks, which is about right. Because the document was only like a few thousand characters. It wasn't huge. It's just a short little diary snippet about kids and other things. It's chunking. It's reaching out to OpenAI to get the embeddings. It's not crashing, which is cool. I kind of fixed that too. So it's basically reaching out to OpenAI to make the embeddings. So it got all the entities and everything else like that. So it's essentially building a graph for itself. So later, when we need to do a query, it's going to look at the graph and see how to traverse the graph to get back to information. So it takes a little bit, but it should finish up soon. And like I said, this is like maybe 20,000 characters. So a few thousand words at least. So if you have like a giant thing you're trying to use this for, maybe, I don't know if this is the most efficient, but for me, I'm just going to throw a bunch of my own text documents into it and talk to it. 571 nodes, 356 edges, had duplicates. It's cleaning up the duplicates. Probably because a lot of the same people are mentioned in this diary as the original file, so I found it. So before I was feeding it text, things like that. Generating more embeddings, more relationships, more chunks, more embeddings, more entities, more vectors. But aren't you glad that you don't have to do all this by yourself and the computer is doing it? It's basically the LLM is doing it. But now I have my whole graph set up. And once that's done, I should be able to ask it questions. So I have stuff about setting up Final Fantasy Tactics on PlayStation. That was really annoying. I think the diary entry has things about parenting, just like tips and tricks. So once this is done, I'll maybe ask it something about Final Fantasy Tactics on PS3. Once this is done running though, I'll go ahead and share. I'll share the MCP. I'll share a link to the Python script that sets up everything on Windows if you don't already have MCP set up. And I'll also share the link to lightrag. So again, you're just going to clone lightrag. Um, in the examples folder, you can throw in that Python script that I'll also share. And then your MCP, there's another Python script for setting up the MCP. So this is written in Node. It'll just be another Node install, and then you update your Claude config. So I wonder what Claude is doing. I wonder if Claude's just sitting there. I received an error when trying to insert the file. This could happen for various reasons. No, the the file is actually being inserted. It's just taking time. Right now, it's still running. I'll show it the logs, just so it doesn't get antsy. I hope the server doesn't crash. But it looks like it's already put in a bunch of the nodes and entities and everything else. I think it's still inputting the file, but I'll go ahead and start querying it to get more information. I also have the wedding speech that I wrote about my brother Joe. And we can ask it a question about that. Um, hmm, it seems to be hanging on generating embeddings. Hmm. Might be a large amount of text. Could be a bottleneck. I'm worried if we query it will crash the server. Yep, hasn't finished the insert file. Insert file request. That's a good point. You're right that we should avoid sending another request while the insert file is running. It'd be safer to wait. It seems to be making progress, but it's weird that it's taking so long. Hmm. Hmm. So it looks like it will take 14 seconds, 9 seconds, a minute and 12 seconds, a minute and 7 seconds. So most of the other calls only take about a minute. Okay. Let's just query about my brother, about Joe Ruff, my older brother's wedding speech by me, the best man. What were any funny jokes? Any funny jokes? Okay, Rag. Let's see. What jokes or funny moments were in the best man speech at Joe Ruff's wedding? I might have to restart the server. Oh, no, it's working. Cool. Oh, now, yeah. So I don't know if it had crashed or what. Now it's working. Local query using 60 entities, 83 relationships. Cool. Based on the query results, there were several funny elements in your best man speech. You used a clever sailing ship metaphor for your family, where Joe was the captain, you were the first mate, Sarah was a precious Victorian noblewoman. Phil was humorously described as the one who swabbed the poop deck. Phil. Swabbing the poop deck. Thanks, Claude. Those are some good, funny jokes. I didn't have to scan through all the text myself. You shared a darkly humorous childhood memory about Joe teaching you that a human skull slammed against the corner of a toy chest won't break, but there will be blood. You made jokes about Joe's transformation from a bad boy raver to Zen Joe, showing his evolution while keeping it lighthearted. The speech seems to have balanced humor with heartfelt moments, using these jokes to both entertain and show your close relationship with Joe. Would you like me to query any other specific aspects of the speech? No thanks. It's been good and it worked. Anyway, this was a small demonstration of what you can do with Claude. You can talk to your own documents. You can forget things like the wedding speech you gave for your brother, but it will remind you of all the cool stuff that you did. And I guess under the hood, it's giving a lot of them. That's cool. I mean, it's interesting because this is what OpenAI is saying it was going on. So OpenAI is going through my documents. The query, I think, is going through OpenAI first, and that's what the generation thing is. But now Claude is commenting on the generation of text. So the green parts are the things that are from the RAG database, more at peace, more committed to the family, and spend a lot of time out in nature. So it's using some of my own words. Then there's a bunch of extra stuff around that. So anyway, RAG is working extraordinarily well. You can insert all your own documents. I plan on, in the future, inserting a lot of documents around my family and then just having like a cool like little story. Like if anybody wants to know more about, say, my brother Joe, then they could just talk to Claude, and anybody in my family could then have more information and go from there. So everybody's got family, everybody's got friends, maybe they want to keep certain memories, and then you can just throw it in your knowledge base and then have a big knowledge base about your family and all that. So um, my homework after this is I'll share the code, I'll share the scripts to run this, and the MCP. So hope you enjoy. I know it's MCP a day, but it's some of the bigger, cooler ones take more time, and this one was one of those. So RAG, it's a good one. It's big, and now Claude can talk with your own local knowledge base. And hopefully the audio doesn't suck like the last video. Sorry about that. Anyway, bye.